Perfecto, yo.
¿Tú vas a hacer en español o en inglés?
Spanglish.
Spanglish, love it.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to show my Spanish a little bit so the community accepts me.
You're accepted.
Yeah, but still there is a little bit of Brazilians are not Latin.
Okay.
Sometimes. And
Alright.
that's a lie. Because we are.
You are Latin. I've
Yeah.
always said that.
There is some people who are like, but you're Brazilian, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not Latina. And I'm like, yes, I am Latina. No, Latinos speak Spanish. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, Latinos are the ones that are from Latin America.
Okay.
Latin America.
Yeah.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Definitely. Right, let's get started. Hello, welcome back to Confident Conversations. And today I've got a very special guest, and it's Bellsavvy.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Well, the sun is out, so every time we are in summer, having a little
Yeah.
bit of a summer, I get happy.
That's good. I've known you for about 2 years, I think.
Oh.
So I've known about you for about 2 years. I've seen you on Latino Shade Room, I think it was.
Right, okay.
And that's how I sort of became aware of you. I know you got posted quite a bit for a long time. And then we just sort of connected.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie, I didn't know you were a Brazilian until I think it was only last year. And then I saw your song with Chris Brown.
Yeah.
How was that? How did that collab come along?
Everybody is so interested in kind of like,
Yeah.
how did that come along? Like, it's, I think the same way that you took 2 years to get to know me and get to know my roots and know that I was a Brazilian, artist, not only in the UK, but as well Brazilian and stuff. I think that that's exactly the trajectory and the whole process of being an artist. Things don't fall from the sky. It's like a lot of people think there's like, wow, you just had a song with Chris Brown, but it's a chain of events that kind of ended up in that place, and that also opened the door for what I am going to put out in a month's time now.
Yeah.
So it's just basically, I was in the pop music for a long time, since 2020. That's when I started in pop music professionally here in the UK. And I was always feeling that something was missing.
Yeah.
So I love pop. I am a pop head. But I was always missing like the Latin thing.
Yeah.
To bring something different and something more like with more depth. And I was invited by Latino Life to perform on that stage, on the Candela stage in 2021. And I've done a Latin pop performance, and that kind of changed my mindset about things. I understood that I had another avenue to go for.
Yeah.
And that made a couple of artists reach out to me, because I started having more highlights as a persona and a musician, a singer in the Latin community, and people found me like you did as well. And this artist from the UK found me and said, I really like what you're doing. You're Brazilian and you're in the UK. I want your voice on my song. And our song called Boom Bap went out in 2022, and we got in the charts in second place here in the iTunes charts in the UK, in the Latin, in 8th place on the big one. So it was really nice. And that situation, because it's a pop Latin international song and etc., opened the door for the whole Chris Brown situation that happened 2 years after.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how things happen. And then Alone Star invited me to be in the song with Chris Brown as well. And they liked what I was doing. And voila, I ended up in that song. I wrote the song myself. My part of the song was me who wrote it. And it was the first time that I actually brought Portuguese as well, because I have never sang in Portuguese before.
Have you not?
No.
Okay.
I took years to actually step into the whole like singing in my mother language. I was more, I was always songwriting in English. And then I started developing my songwriting in Spanish in 2020 when I actually got professionalized. And that was my branding. I think that was my identity, is the Spanglish thing. And then Portuguese was just not happening naturally. But that at some point I just felt like, yes, I really want this. And that happened with the song with Chris Brown.
Okay. That's really good.
It was really nice.
Very proud of your mother language and getting that involved. Uno de mis favoritos artistas ever is Roberto Carlos. Love his music. I think it's so beautiful the way he sings in Portuguese. So hearing that sort of Portuguese come through, it's so beautiful. I actually listened to Down to Ride.
Down to Ride.
Down to Ride a lot. I've got it on my phone.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that song. It's different. It's very different.
I think that because we got 4 different artists. We have a massive star, a Latin star as well. His name is Zach, and he's from Mexico, and he's part of the Rebelde. You know Rebelde? It's a sensation in Latin America. If you're from Latin America, you know Rebelde.
I'm trying to think of who Zach is.
Zach. So he's
I know who Rebelde is.
Yeah, he's one of the main guys in Rebelde. I think he's the kind of evil one. I'm not sure. I didn't watch the ones that he's in. Didn't have the opportunity.
Is it the original Rebelde?
The new one.
That's why I don't know him.
The one that is out I think for 2 years
the
now.
Remake.
Yeah,
okay.
the Netflix one.
Okay.
So yeah, the original one
that's why I was
is
like,
Anaí, Roberta,
Dulce Maria.
Yeah. So and so he brought all of his Mexican pop style. It's so good, and Alone Star just delivered everything on his UK kind of rap thing. It's just really nice. It's really nice. And Chris Brown, of course, did his thing, isn't it? So.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, you can ask me questions as well. It isn't like a one-way interview.
Oh, okay. I'm going to think about that then.
It's definitely just a conversation.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, o sea, yo muy orgulloso de ser latino. Very proud of the Latin artists who are in the UK representing. Para mí, I was telling Victor earlier, o sea, las cifras para mí no importan. What matters to me is representation, making sure people know what we're about. Because, o sea, por decir, I could get someone so who's very like who wouldn't come on. O sea, digamos que yo cojo a Karol G, for example.
Oh, I love Karol G.
Like, I would get views for that, pero eso no me importa.
¿Por qué?
O sea, because I would rather get people like who are starting out in the music industry, in the film industry.
Or like newcomers.
Yeah. Rather than get
porque
the
como
big
ella ya es
stars.
una estrella, déjala brillando ahí.
Yeah.
So you're more interested in like people
In
that
the new people, yeah.
I personally really like newcomer artists because as newcomer artists or what they call rising stars, which is a little upper than the newcomers, but it's just names. I think that every independent artist, when you're not in the mainstream media, you're very interesting because you can try different things. You can be a little bit more like original.
Yeah.
When you go to the mainstream, I think you lose a little bit of that because, of course, you have 20,000 people behind your project and there is tendencies and it's a business. So you have to have the mentality that you will have to sometimes to leave a little bit of your originality behind so you fit into a couple of boxes to sell more, to be more popular. And for you to be popular, you have to have identity, but you will have to be flexible and more like, if this word exists, shapeable, ¿sabes? You have to go more into that mainstream avenue. And that's where I'm going to be by your side on I'm very interested in new artists because it's more unique. And you see more new things where when the artist goes to a certain level, it starts sounding a bit more generic with other things that are as well. Like,
O sea, it would be very different si hubiera cogido a Karol G very early on in her career. O alguien como quien le digo, ¿cómo se llama? Shakira, Beyonce. If I had got them on very early on, that'd be very different because it was a different time back then.
Look at Shakira's Ojos. What's the name of the song? Ojos.
I know what song. I have it on my phone.
Hold on. I will tell you now.
Ojo.
It's one of my favorite songs. How do I don't know the name?
Pero.
Shakira.
But she got a lot of hate when she first started.
Oh, yeah. Ojos Así.
Ojos Así.
It's this song of Shakira. I think it's extremely unique. It's really commercial, but extremely unique. And then if you compare to what she started doing after Whenever and Ever, when she got international, I think that she didn't. I think that she didn't lose her identity. I think her identity stayed in there. Of course, the Shakira, she kept her identity, and I think that even developing her art and her music, she still has a unique identity. But you see her in the beginning was stronger.
Yeah.
Was very like roots. Do you know what I mean? It's really interesting. I love Shakira, so be careful.
No, Shakira.
She's my thing. Like
Shakira es una de mis favoritas artistas y I think she became even more so after the PK thing. Porque so as a lot of people know about me, I'm all about female empowerment. My whole family is female pretty much, but el 95% son mujeres. So I've always liked the female empowerment, las mujeres empoderadas, las mujeres son fuertes, because I've seen it from
your house.
My household, my whole family are. It's just a different story. Pero I've seen it. I've seen the struggle. I've seen the things that you women can do, how amazing you are, how strong you are, how incredible you are. If I look at my mom, puedo decir algo. Mi mamá trabajaba, me llevaba a la escuela, me llevaba a las citas. Mi papá trabajaba 2 jobs. So I think he'd get up at like 2 a.m. and get home at 10 or 11 p.m. Back in the day. So I know how much men work, but for a woman to go through everything and still work, it's incredible. And something that I love about Shakira es que cuando ella sacó El Jefe, cuando sacó TQG, those 2 songs really hit me hard. And I said, okay, actually, women don't need men. Women don't need men to feel empowered, to feel like they belong somewhere, to feel like they're safe.
Oh, yeah, I think that we changed this mindset for a long time ago, but it actually coming to surface now because girls, the younger generation and etc., they are breaking out even more from that box, like even more aggressively. Yeah. So this whole, me personally, I have a little bit of the Prince Charming come to save me yet. I am very empowered and I'm very self-sufficient and I think I don't need a man for anything.
You work hard.
But I do. I do, and I don't have any men behind me helping in anything. Like, I do my own thing by myself.
You work hard. I've seen your posts. I've seen behind the scenes. And
well, apparently I have to work even harder now. So I think this is another thing, like on our heads is never enough. So we have to be women. A lot of us need to be a mother. We need to be wives. We need to be extremely competent professionals. We need to be entrepreneurs. We need to be sisters, daughters. We have to be so many things, and looks like it's never enough. So, like, I think that this is something we need to give a step back and start being really self-aware and self-empowered of not letting the society or this crazy rhythm of life make us doubt of ourselves, because we already doing so much. Like, you that has a kid or 2 kids or whatever, you have someone else that you have to take care of, and you're in a relationship and you have your business or you work on a 9 to 5 or you have 2 jobs or whatever you do. Like, you already doing so well in life because the competence you have to have as a human being to be able to deliver all of this to so many different things. You already like a superpower, like superhero, like a superhuman. And society and the high expectations that we're having nowadays are making us think that this is all very normal, not a super thing. And it's always putting on top. Like this comment that I just threw here on, like, you said, oh, you work super hard, thank you. Still, I have a lot of people on my back saying, you should be working harder. So much harder. You don't work that hard. Like, you need to do this, this, and that. So do you see how it is? Sometimes, for some people, it looks... or even for yourself, you look and you feel, oh, I'm happy about myself. You know, like I'm happy with my shape.
Yeah.
I'm happy with my hair. I'm happy with where I live, or I'm happy with my job, with my kids. But there is always someone trying to kind of take it away from you and putting you in doubt with yourself. And I think that that's the biggest inspiration I try to bring from my music, to try to connect to people and somewhat inspire. Is I'm a very strong-minded person. I'm like stubborn, una cabeza muy fuerte, like proper Latina. And I try to connect to inspire people, saying like, don't let other people tell you what you are, because I don't let other people tell me what I am. And just be really strong-minded about yourself and how much you're amazing in what you do. And then, if there is things you would like to change about yourself, or things you're not happy about your life, address it. But don't let other people tell you what is right or wrong for you. Like, be more solid with yourself, you know?
I think el problema que muchos tienen, and I'll put myself in that circle because I suffered with that a lot, is people get way too comfortable in one spot.
Yeah.
And I say I'm putting myself in that sort of circle porque yo era igual. O sea,
Comfort zone.
I was very much in my comfort zone for a long time. But once you've realized you're getting comfortable, try something new. Y eso pasó exactamente con este podcast. Like, yo started boxing and I didn't really... No, I enjoyed it a lot actually, but it got taken away from me. But again, I just stepped it up and actually got out my comfort zone, changed my ability, and I love my podcast. It's something that I never thought I'd do, and I'm enjoying the journey. Y algo que la gente le da miedo es pedir ayuda.
Oh, sí.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's absolutely nothing wrong.
But do you know where this comes from? It's from ego.
Your
ego. Because the ego exists to protect you, basically. So your ego is going to tell you what not to do in case you're going to have any type of like social exposure or problem. So most people, their ego is not going to allow them to ask for help. I'm one of them. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Like, I tend to do all myself and I don't ask for help unless I'm like literally about to break into pieces. But sometimes we need to kind of work our ego in a positive way, which there are so many ways to do that nowadays.
But I don't think it's always ego. In the sentido que, o sea, in my scenario, and I was telling, again, Victor earlier, yo prácticamente me crié solo. A mí me tocó aprender a ser independiente. Me tocó aprender a pensar por mí mismo, a hacer las cosas por mí mismo. Like, not to depend on anyone. So for me, si yo tengo un problema, I can't even take it back to my parents. O sea, cuando yo necesito algo, yo lo compro. And my mom's like, ¿por qué no pregunta si tenemos? ¿Por qué no pide? I'm like, because that's not how I was brought up. Yo siempre me crié con la mentalidad de, if you need something, work for it. And
que tú tienes tu propia...
Yeah, and you can get it yourself.
Sí.
So, is that ego? I don't know. Pero yo siempre me crié con una manera de work for what you have, work for what you do, and you'll get there. And you'll enjoy it. And it's exactly the same with the podcast. Yo trabajo duro para pagar el podcast. Yo trabajo duro to create my content, to make sure it's out there, to make sure it's what I want to post, to make sure it's top quality. But that's just me going, that's the way I got brought up. O sea, no es que yo diga, no, yo no voy a pedir ayuda porque yo puedo solo y porque yo me creo mejor. It isn't because of that, it's just que...
Estás acostumbrado ya.
Me acostumbré así, yeah.
Si yo tengo... la manera que mi familia ha criado a mí es completamente mezclado. Es muy mezclado. Mi papá ha sido más el tipo que no estaba así lejos todo el tiempo, estaba trabajando, estaba viajando, estaba siempre away. Y mi mamá estaba siempre ahí. Entonces, yo llamo a mi madre de Pain. Pain es una mezcla entre dos dos palabras que tenemos en Brasil, que es pai, que es papá, y mãe, que es mamá. Entonces, mi madre es mi pai, porque muchas veces mi padre no existía en las situaciones y mi madre estaba allí para hacer los dos. Entonces, para mí yo soy muy independiente porque yo tenía que ir por las cosas. Mi padre no me daba nada. Y mi madre, como era una madre y se quedaba en casa, no tenía mucho para darme también, si era como cosas que tenían que ser compradas o en un curso de idiomas o algo, yo tenía que hacer por mí. Entonces yo siempre cuento esta historia también que va mucho como tú me estás diciendo. Cuando yo tenía 11 años, yo quería ir a vivir en Londres. 11 años la chica ya sabía que quería vivir en Londres. Y mi madre dijo a mí un día y entró en mi habitación y yo estaba haciendo un panel de recortes así. Y mi madre, ¿qué haces tú? ¿Qué pasa ahí? Y yo, ay, mamá, es que estoy haciendo un vision board de cómo va a ser mi vida cuando yo soy adulta. Y mi madre, ¿cómo así? ¿Dónde es eso? Estaba como el Big Ben y todo, el red carpets y Harry Potter, porque yo quería que Harry Potter sea mi novio y todo. Y mi madre, pero tú no puedes hacer eso porque vivimos en una ciudad en Brasil y eso es en Inglaterra, es muy, muy lejos y nosotros no tenemos dinero. Y yo, pero no me importa que no tenemos dinero, yo voy a hacer dinero. Y mi madre, vale, pero ¿cómo tú vas a llegar ahí si tú no hablas inglés? Ellos hablan inglés y yo voy a aprender. Y yo aprendí inglés solita. Yo nunca tuve cursos de inglés o aulas o clases o nada. Yo aprendí solita. Eso es porque como mi padre no me daba nada y yo tenía que hacer las cosas por mí, por más que mi madre siempre intentaba lo mejor, no era, vamos a decir, no era lo suficiente para cosas más materiales. Yo tuve que aprender a hacerlo solita. Y ha sido así hasta ahora. Yo no pido cosas a nadie. Nadie me da nada. I have to do everything by myself.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand where you're coming from because once you have a pattern of behavior and kind of a structure of how to do things for yourself, you're not going to really expect anyone else to give it to you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's always an ego thing where we don't ask for help. It's just the way that some people get brought up. I think it's an ego thing to think if you're the best and to pretend that someone is to the heights of a Maluma or a Karol G because they've worked hard to get there.
Yeah.
100%, and they've put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're just starting out, and I'm not saying you, by the way.
I am just starting out.
No,
I started 4 years ago. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing.
But like, I'm talking like newer artists who think.
And I had the pandemic destroying me in the middle because I
you?
signed the contract in 2020, like February, and the pandemic hit in March.
It did.
So the first 2 years of my career was like pandemic. I'm gonna do an album called Pandemic one day probably because wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Artists, I think that all artists have a lot of ego. Independently of how big you are, you have a lot of ego. I think you just need to know how to deal with it because ego is good for a couple of things. As I told you, it helps you to defend you, to, it's
100%.
It's good for a couple of things. But the dark side of it is the arrogance, or arrogance is the ugliest thing in the world. And I think we all been there at some point.
Yeah.
We just need to kind of develop ourselves enough to look at yourself and say, qué arrogante que eres, qué mierda haces, change, no quiero ser así más, ¿qué pasa? ¿Sabes? Es feo. A very beautiful guy or a very beautiful woman can come and talk to you. If that person is arrogant, like, oh yeah, I'm very hot and I'm beautiful. And like, oh girl, yeah, I'm a 10 out of 10. Look, you're so lucky to be talking to me. I'm pretty sure you're going to feel really turned off. You're going to be like, that's not nice. Yeah. So I think as that massive metal band is called, that I really like, ego kills talent. Do you know what I mean? So
100%.
It's 100% there.
Also, you went to my life coach's premiere last year before.
Where? What? Where?
Was it Liam? Liam's event? I think it's Liam.
No.
A life coach event, yeah.
No. The psychopath life coach.
She used to be my life coach.
Yeah. Psychopath
Yeah.
life coach.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's a friend of mine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I love Liam.
Lewis,
That's the one. Liam is the other one.
Liam is they are partners.
Yeah.
Big ups, Lewis.
Love
He's really
Lewis and
funny.
Liam.
I'm friends with his wife as well.
Oh,
and,
okay.
they are a lovely family. They are very nice. It was very nice. Like I love psychological stuff, so that's completely out of music. But it was interesting when I went to the place. I didn't know them, none of them, including Lewis.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know them. And we made friends after that. And it was interesting to see a psychopath in front of you, and it's, I don't know. I couldn't see the psychopath on him, to be fair.
I think to hear his story and to know where he came from and to where he is now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a massive...
He was diagnosed with a thing. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying he's not a psychopath, but definitely he's a different person now because I don't see the traits in him, And I think that there is people in the industry that are much more psychopathic than them. And like I have met people in this industry that are very interesting. Like, wow.
Is it in the Latin community or is it...
In all of them.
Okay.
In general, not only in England, in Brazil, there is people that they pretend that they are very nice and actually behind their mask, there is darkness. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that there is a very big tendency of having a lot of psychopaths nowadays in between us. And we don't know because, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to give a big shout out to Lewis, Liam, Bonnie. They helped me become who I am today.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, they when I signed up to the coaching masters, that's it.
Coaching masters, that's it.
Yeah, I had Liam who interviewed me to start it up, and then Bonnie sort of guided me through it. But I was always watching Lewis's videos, and actually I was always learning and taking away things. So Lewis helped me a lot.
He's very, very, very intelligent.
Who, Lewis?
Like insane, yeah.
100%.
Very intelligent.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Very intelligent.
Yeah.
I think that this is the thing with like psycho people, like because they lack empathy, they develop different things inside of their brain, like in that way. Do you know what I mean? Because empathy, sometimes I feel that empathy makes you a little bit more weak. Not in a bad way, because I'm ultra empathetic. So it's me. I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change in the spectrum just to be more clever. But I think that sometimes the more empathetic you are, the more vulnerable you get sometimes. Because people can take advantage. And if you don't have that empathy, you're more into the other side of the spectrum, which is the psychopathy. Is that how you say in English? Psychopathy. Yeah,
I think so,
psychopathy, I think it is. Let's see in the comments. People just gonna drop that, you're saying it wrong. I think that you are a little bit stronger. And there is this loads of researchers saying that the biggest leaders in the world are all into that spectrum of being psychopaths. So
yeah, I get that. Pero o sea, big up to Lewis. Big up to Lewis.
Lewis had 5 big ups so far on the interview.
100%.
And you're probably going to be in the comments too.
No, but I've always given my sort of my growth to him en el sentido que, ¿cómo le digo? O sea, when I started the podcast, I wasn't sure about how it was going to be. Pero actually, todo lo que aprendí doing my life coaching, todo lo que aprendí doing every single lesson that I attended, it all sort of came back to me and it helped me to be a better host. So I had to go through that to be a podcaster, and I love that. I just didn't know that I had to go through that.
Yeah. I think that every artist has to go through a lot of different things to kind of develop their art. You know what I mean? Like, I personally, I do artistic development for other artists. So I have an artistic, a talent development company. And for me to be able to now help other people, work with other people, I had to develop myself for a long time. And I could only start developing myself when I've been through business situations where I had to be my own manager. I had to work side by side with massive managers in the industry on my product, on me as Bellsavvy. I had to learn about social media. I had to learn. I'm a professional actress. I have 3 degrees in acting. So I had to be an actress as well so I could understand more in the acting side of things and you know, get deeply immersed into all sorts of like ways of creating this music business and this artistic business as a structure. And I think that everything you do develops you to something.
Oh yeah.
You know, like to your focus. You have a focus, but everybody is quite multifaceted. Do you know what I mean? So you just go around to really like power up that one thing that is the core of everything.
Oh yeah, and you don't realize that until actually years later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it takes ages. You think you're wasting your time. Why am I learning about this and that? Why am I learning about algorithms? And why am I learning about, I don't know, design and stuff? And then in the end you're like, oh my God, I actually can use that now. I can use this as well. Oh, this guy's lying to me. Hold on. It's that old thing, you know, like in Latin America, I don't know here, but in Latin America, in Brazil mostly, we have this, the mechanics, you know, that you bring your car. And before you start going to this place, your dad is going to come and teach you a little bit about cars. So when you go there, they don't overcharge you on things and pretend that more things are broken than actually is. Because it's very common. It's very common. They see a woman that have no idea about cars and they are like, sometimes it's just a tiny little, llamamos de fusible in Portuguese, you know, like a tiny little piece that just, that costs 15 quid to change and is making your car not go anywhere. They will pretend that actually is the whole like engine that got completely screwed and stuff. Like, so what I mean with this parallel kind of analogy is you need to learn about everything a little bit so people don't take advantage from you in the end. And that makes you stronger again.
Right at the beginning of this conversation, right at the beginning, before we even did the intro, we were speaking about Brazil being a part of Latin America.
Oh, yeah.
Being identified as non-Latino-Americanos. We
know. People say we're not, but we do identify as Latin Americans. Like.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So.
I've always said you're part of Latin America.
Yeah.
You're part of that region anyway.
Yeah, I think for foreigners, so like Europeans in general, Americans and etc., we are all there. But a couple of Latin Americans, the Spanish-speaking ones, they don't consider us.
Because you speak Portuguese.
And because apparently we're different or something like this. Like, I don't know. We have our own culture and it's different, you know what I mean? Like, we have the Brazilian funk and samba and stuff is very specific. And the way that we do and etc. But I think this is a bit... It doesn't really make sense for me because I think that it's just going to separate a little bit more what should be united. It's all Latin America. It's all human beings. It's all world is people. Do you know what I mean? It's a very beautiful community that is all of us. Like it's, for me, Latinos is everybody is from Latin America or that comes from a Latin language. Yeah. You know, that's basically that.
See, the way I sort of say it is Latinos is everyone in Latin America.
Yeah. But Mexicans are not from Latin America, though.
They're just
They're Central. They're Central America. Yeah. But they are Latinos.
But they're Latinos.
So, do you know what I mean?
But I also say Latin America is part of Central and then the whole of South. Yeah. And then there's Hispanics, which are people that speak Spanish. Yeah. And that's the way I sort of see it. Like, just because you're Brazilian doesn't mean you're not Latina.
Oh, yeah, I am. I am Latina.
Yeah.
Just some. There is a famous guy from Brazil. He's a comedy, comedian, and he just dropped a video recently on the internet talking about that, because he did a video saying that he was Brazilian, blah 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 blah, and then people just destroyed him, saying that he's not Latino, that he's Brazilian, Brazilians are not Latino, and like they destroyed him online. And then he kind of came back and did a little lecture on people, which I think that he's laid. And he was like, yes, I am Latino because I was born in Latin America and I speak a language that comes from Latin. So I am Latino. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was really nice the way that he did explain to the smaller heads, and was really, I felt really reassured, and was really nice to see that. It was not only with me that happened. There is this, like, even here in London, I feel sometimes that there is the Brazilian community and the Latin community. And I make part of both of them, but I know a lot of people that just make part of one or the other. And I think that should be all one thing. Oh, sorry.
That's right.
It should be all one thing, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Even, yeah. I don't know. Even a couple of cultural productions and things, they do this thing like the Brazilian thing and the Latin thing. And I think that's a bit of an error, like a bit of a mistake. It should be just we all that. Do you know what I mean? All together. Anita is doing that. Do you know what I mean? She is from Brazil, and she's not doing just Brazilian music. She's doing the whole Latin music, let's say, as if people still separating it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think people just like to put people into their own little circles, boxes, which I do get, but it's just weird and wrong. Porque, so that's like going, you've got a disability, you can't be together. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's us and them, isn't it? It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I felt in a couple of situations, the whole like, the Brazilian community, and then there is us, the Latin community, and I'm like, and then I started seeing it. I was like, it's true. It is actually true. This is the Brazilian community, which I make part. This is the Latin community, which I make part too. And I'm like, Christ, it is true, but it should just be, I don't know, all together, celebrating each other's like little differences, you know what I mean? Because of course the culture is different. The Brazilian culture is different of Colombian, different of Venezuelan, different of Cuban. It's different, but that is culture. That doesn't. It shouldn't. I think it shouldn't segregate as like changes.
Yeah, but look how weird the thing is, because I was speaking to a friend on TikTok, and I sort of said to her, I'm Colombian in Panama, and she got arrested in Brazil. and she was just telling me, like, she was telling her story, and she was like, "Juan, you should know this because you're from Colombia." I was like, "Okay, go on, speak." And she was telling me these things, and I was like, "Actually, we're not that different." Because I've heard Brazilian prisons are tough, and I completely agree with that. Latin American prisons are tough. Pero mire, ella a quien le preguntó. I've never been to Brazil, but yet she's still asking someone in the Latin American community, per se, and she's going, "Man, you should know this, because you're from Colombia." 2 different countries.
Yeah, it's different.
But we're still sort of very similar in the sense of we're technically a third world country, but Brazil is just that little bit more advanced than other countries, and you're number one in the world apparently. But look at who she's asking is my point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Colombian.
But do you see how interesting? Like, I think it goes exactly where I told you before.
Yeah.
The foreigners, they see all of us
as
together.
one. Yeah.
And we don't see ourselves together. I say we because unfortunately, do you know what I mean? Not me particularly.
Yeah.
For me, we are all Latin. Like I go in places. I travel. I don't know. I go to Italy or I go anywhere. I go traveling. If there is people from South America, I'm like, hi, I'm Latina too. Hi. I just start like making friends, speaking Spanish with them and
Yeah.
stuff. Because for me, it's like we are all together. There's people who has this thing of like, oh, Argentinians and Brazilians hate each other. It's like, really, because of football, like. It's the joke, I believe, because I never had a problem with an Argentinian person in my life. I have an ex that's an Argentinian guy. Like, I never really had this thing, like, personally. I know that there is people who brings it to the surface and make it a deal. But I think it's so... The world is already so separate. Like, why are we trying to separate our community as well? It's really weird for me.
Another thing that I hate, and I can guarantee you must get this as well, but I hate it so much because I get a lot of it from as you say, foreigners. Pero cuando digo que yo quiero ir a Colombia and I want to actually go to Brazil at one point, and they go, no, it's dangerous, you can't go there, it's peligroso, lo van a secuestrar. Like, I've got a couple of colleagues at work who always ask me that, and I love them for it, and they go, oh, I've got to go to Colombia. But they always go to me, but will I get kidnapped? Will they try and rip me off? I'm like, no, it will happen, but if you're in the wrong area.
Yeah, you need to be careful. Well, in Brazil, it's not even like that. So maybe Colombia is less peligroso que Brazil. Because Brazil, I'm from São Paulo capital, which is the biggest city in Brazil, most populated one, and there is no safe space.
Okay.
I'm sorry. If you're going to Brazil and you're choosing to go Rio or São Paulo, I will advise you, and you guys can drop whatever you want in the comments saying that I'm deluded or whatever, that I'm being negative.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. But you all, if you're Brazilian, you all know that you can't walk in the middle of the streets with your phone like you do here. No, you can't. No, you can't. Oh. You can't go out with a nice watch or an Apple Watch and just think that nothing is gonna happen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or golden chains and stuff like. Jewelry, like in Brazil, you have to be, if you're gonna walk in the middle of the streets, you have to be low key. You can walk in the middle of the streets and possibly not have anything happening to you if you are aware.
Yeah.
If you are in a less probable places to be, like mugged or anything like that, and if you are low key. If you want to go like all pumped up, beautiful, incredible, looking like you are loaded, they will do something. I promise you. Doesn't matter where you are in São Paulo.
Oh no, 100%.
It will happen.
In that case, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is like, so in Colombia, I'm from Armenia, which is like a little small town, and I was like growing up and going to Colombia on holidays. I was always told, guarda el teléfono, don't wear watches.
Yeah.
Don't wear jewelry. This
is basics.
Yeah.
This is basics for you to walk around.
This is the basics.
Like, at least in my city and in Rio is terrible at the moment.
100%. So I always got warned about that, and especially in cabs, I was always told, no hablen inglés, hablen español.
Ah, sí, yeah, as well. Oh, yeah, there is the whole gringo alarm.
Yeah.
There is the whole gringo alarm. If people know that you are gringo in Brazil...
You'll get ripped off.
Yeah. Everything is more expensive to you.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You're probably going to get some sort of trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you... things... Yeah, and so on. It goes a little bit further than that, but I'm not going to even go down there. But
yeah. Pero, o sea, if I look at someone like my sister, que ella es... She's a risk taker, let's put it that way. She's a risk taker.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. So she'll have her Apple Watch on. I don't know if she has her phone on her, like when she's walking. But anyway, she has her Apple Watch on show, and she'll walk around
in the middle of the streets.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She's
in Colombia.
In Colombia.
Well, then I can't say because I've never been in Colombia, but.
And nothing's happened to her. And I see like a lot of people walking around with their phones. I was always warned against it, so I don't do it. I don't have a lot of trust in myself. Pero, it depends on where you are.
All right.
So if you're going to El Centro, yeah, you're probably gonna get your phone snatched and
Your phone snatched.
yeah, or probably get threatened. Pero I would never worry about going to Colombia. Like, para mí es mi país, mi ciudad, mi tierra. I would never really go. No, I do Colombia. It's such a horrible place and it's got a high crime rate. I would never say that. Porque lo que ha caído no me ha pasado nada. I've seen a few things, but
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, no me ha pasado nada conmigo también, pero yo he visto muchas cosas en Brasil cuando yo viví ahí. O la última vez que yo estuve ahí también, yo he visto muchas cosas.
I saw a rape.
I didn't see that, but well, that's horrible. That's grim. But I've seen people being mugged with like guns on their heads and stuff in front of my car. Like I'm in this car, the car in front of me is happening, and it's really violent. It's 4 of them. It's a lot of guns, and when you're living in Europe, well, when you're living in the UK, at least my perception is that you kind of forget a little bit about the whole fire guns and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because I've never. Is that me? Oh, it is me. I'm sorry about that.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's fine.
The whole fire guns and stuff. It's something that I didn't see here ever. I have never seen. I've seen knives and the whole gang thing and etc. But maybe because I'm Brazilian and I've seen so much back in my country, for me it's like, that's nothing. It's all right. You know what I mean? It's
No, so para mí, o sea, yo la primera vez que fui, and this was 2000, I want to say 5 or 6. I went to Colombia, and I remember it clear as day. Yo nunca se me olvidó de memoria. Estaba en la casa de mi tía. I was just going to my grandparents' house, and we were going to get a taxi. Y enfrente, donde cogemos el taxi, there was a woman screaming and shouting and being dragged back into her house. And people were just like shouting and throwing rocks at the guy. Pero no hacían nada.
Eso es diferente en mi país, entonces. Brasileños, nosotros hacemos. No se miran cosas así, no se hace nada. Nosotros somos entrometidos. Nosotros no dejamos cosas así pasar y nadie hace nada. En Brasil, si una persona está gritando en el medio de la calle, 40 personas van a venir a preguntar lo que pasó. Entonces, ¿por qué nosotros somos tan unidos en cosas así, en este tipo? Yo creo que hace a las personas más empowered, porque sabemos que si yo miro a una chica ahí gritando y yo, opa, ¿qué pasa hoy? 5 otros chicos me van a juntar conmigo y vamos ahí, y 10 más, y 2 señoras y un señor, y cuando se ve la policía ya está también. Eso me encanta mucho en mi gente. Mi gente es muy fuerte así para ayudar uno a los otros en el medio de la calle. Porque creo que, porque hay tanto, ya estamos acostumbrados, ya estamos más, tenemos que ayudar, tenemos que hacer algo. Y también porque, infelizmente, justice in my country is ridiculous. Like, it's appalling. And if the people don't do something, I think it would be in the darkest place possible now. So proud that my people actually do something as citizens. 100%. You know?
I think I've seen more Latinos here actually come together than they do in Colombia, desafortunadamente. I think the closest I've seen Colombia come together is when the riots were happening in Colombia against el presidente y la pandemia. I think that's the closest I've ever seen my country be together. O cuando hay un partido de fútbol. Ahí sí todo el mundo se quiere y se ama.
Tú sabes que es interesante lo que dices, porque cuando yo he visto una situación aquí en Inglaterra, en el tube, I saw this girl, there was a guy kind of like being weird with her, and she started speaking out because the guy was being weird, and I saw people looking and doing this as if it's not my problem. I got myself involved because I saw what she was saying. She looked really distressed. It didn't look like she was doing any type of revenge or being like mean to someone she knows. It looks like she was really like she didn't know the guy. And I was like, because I had to be careful as well, and I saw that no one else was doing anything to help, was me and another friend of mine that is Brazilian as well. We both just looked at each other and we were like, we just came up with a name. We said, Anna, like whatever. I don't remember the name we came up, but let's pretend it wasn't. Anna, how you doing? What's going on, girl? What's going on? Like, what's happening? Who are you? And the guy was like immediately shocked. I was like, it's my cousin. What's going on? And the girl was like, yeah, it's my cousin. Do you know what I mean? Like she when the guy left and we jumped off in the next station so she could bring, the police and stuff to report. She did not even believe we actually did that for her. She was completely shocked. She was like, you just saved my life. Like, thank you so much. This guy was whatever coming after me for X stops and I jumped in and out and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't remember the situation. That was literally like 5 years ago. But how beautiful it was.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so I just don't understand why people don't do more here. Like, why people don't help each other. Do you think it's like...
Because they think it's weird.
It's weird to save someone?
No, it's that. Because yo aprendí, and I'm sorry to say they're British people, by the way. I don't mean any disrespect, but if you look at the UK culture, just on un tren or in the tube, everyone, you can't look at each other, you can't say hello to each other, you can't interact with each other because people think it's weird. So people are like, okay.
Oh.
And they'll get off.
Oh.
But if you look at Latinos, and again, if I go back to Colombia, I could probably say hello 20 to 50 times within a minute of walking out my house.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, hola, ¿cómo está? Hola, vecino, ¿cómo está? Buenos días, buenas noches.
Do you know that every single day, in the end of the day when my mom talks to me, my mom is like, hey, Catherine, did this person follow you? She give me like random names. And I'm like, I don't know, I can check. And then I look at the followers I had in a day and I find this people. And I'm like, yeah, she said, oh yeah, okay, then 2 more, 3 more for you today, like from me. And I'm like, what you do? And she's like, I don't know, I just meet people in the middle of the street and I tell them to follow you. So my mom makes friends with anything that moves, anything that is out there for her to make friends. Like in the mall when she's going to work, in a dog walk with my dog. Like she just comes back home and she's like, oh, I think you have like 5 new followers for you from me. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like friends of yours? No, I don't know. It's this guy spoken here, the girl that I met in the cafe, her doctor. Her doctor, guys. Like, my mom went to the doctor last week. Yeah. And she literally made her doctor come and follow me on Instagram. Oh, wow. She does not give a flying fuck to things. She's just like, no, it's gonna follow. So she just, do you know what I mean? But like that's my culture. Mostly of my culture. Like we are I meet you now. In 2 days, we're in my house having a coffee with your family. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you'd be invited for my birthday. It's like, oh, what? Like, I made a friend here in the UK about 2.5 years ago. It's a Spanish girl. And from that day onwards, I just consider her a friend. And every time she comes to London, she sent me a message and say, hola, amor, I'm here. Vamos a ver. Vamos a salir. I saw the girl once in my life.
Oh, wow.
Because I met her in the middle of a club. And she was Spanish, and I said, yeah, mi familia española también, ay, qué lindo. We started speaking, and then from then on, we got each other's Instagram and WhatsApp, and we saw each other, like, I think once after that. And then every time she comes, I'm very busy or she's very busy. So we try to see each other, we don't. But the consideration I have for her, do you know what I mean? It's, like, insane, and we barely know each other. And that's I think it's a very Brazilian thing. Like, it's just very open to make friends and to connect and to, I miss that. I can't lie.
100%.
I really miss that.
Because when I go back to Colombia, I'm not expecting to know anyone or speak to anyone. I'm very English in that sense. But when I say we go to a lot to my auntie's house. Y hay una vecina de ellos. She's like, oh, hola, mi amor, ¿cómo está? She's an older woman. She's like, oh, hola, mi amor, si yo fuera más joven, I was I would date you and all of this, and you're so cute, you got beautiful eyes. I'm like, oh, okay. But because I was brought up in a very English way, I was like, great, thanks. And I don't know how
It's
to
shocking
react.
for you, even. Yeah.
But I know my country and I know my culture, so I know that everyone's very friendly out there, and they're like, hey, come over, take part.
And it's not
have a drink.
And you know what? With me, it happened a lot of times. Not anymore because now I got used to it. Like I'm a little bit British now, isn't it? For 5 years here. But in the beginning, people used to think I was flirting because I was being friendly. And I had a couple of very, very a bit unnecessary situations because I was just being friendly, and people would think that I was being flirtatious, and I was literally just being Brazilian, just being friendly and just being nice. And so then I learned how to bring my Brazilian friendly
vibe a
little bit down, like pipe down, you know. Being in a relationship as well made me understand that there is things that I need to be careful to respect my relationship and stuff. So it's
definitely
it's interesting, you know, the cultural
it's very interesting
impact. Cultural clash, I would say. But I love it. This is the thing. Like, I have nothing against the cultural, the cultural clash that, for example, me as Brazilian have with English culture. We have a lot of clash, but I learn from it, and I appreciate it, and I respect it, and there's a lot of things that I get for me now. So I have a lot of English things in me now. Like, even my mom says to me sometimes when she's really pissed off at me because I'm being all like, "Shush, you shouting, stop, chill."
Yeah.
And my mom's like, "Ah, you're too British now." Do you know what I mean? I'm shouting, like, because my mom speaks really loud, proper Latina, and she's Italian.
Yeah.
So she's proper like shouty. I love it. But sometimes when it's too much, I'm like, okay, mama, stop. And she's like, you being British. Her best friend is from England as well and lives in Brazil. So she says, you're being like Barbara.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been exactly like Barbara. You're too English now. Leave me alone. It's really, I think it's once you respect and you admire another culture that is not yours.
Yeah.
I think you can take a lot of positive things from there.
I think for me, because I'm speaking to someone at the minute, I've got to be very careful with what I say because I use a lot of "el amor" or "la reina," and that for me it's just the sense of, you know, it's the way that my culture is. But now that I'm speaking to someone, I've got to be very careful what I say. Because I don't want her to be like...
Thinking that you're being flirtatious.
Why are you cheating on me? I'm like, no. It's just the way we are.
And do you know what I really like? One thing that I really, really love, and I think it's one of the things that thrill me every time, is when people say, "Oh, you're from Brazil?" And I'm like, "Yes." "Oh, you're feisty, isn't it?" Like, people are scared. They are like, "Oh, she's Brazilian." Like, I love that. Because, yes... we are feisty. Yes, we are strong-headed, and we are very genuine, and I think it's strong. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's really cool to be like that. And I just love it. I love when people get a little bit like, she's Brazilian. I feel thrilled. I love that. I think it's really cute.
Oh, I get a lot of, you're Colombian. No, actually, that's a lie.
Do they?
I don't get that as much anymore. I get a lot of, you're Colombian, you must have the beautiful women and all of this. And like, you know, yes, but we also have normal women, like women that, you know, don't have...
You have all sorts of
the amazing
beauty.
bodies, yeah. And
it's like the perception, I think, that every Brazilian girl has to have a massive bum.
Yes.
That's not accurate, guys. I'm sorry to say that. I have a lot of friends of mine that has a different body types.
Yes.
Not only the massive culo and small cinturita. That's not the only thing you see in Brazil. You see all types of beauty. You know, there is girls in Brazil, actually. We have the south of Brazil that everybody is... we have... So the immigrants that went to Brazil were like from Germany, Italy, more like Northern Europe. And so girls look literally like... white, blue eyes, blonde, very tall, skinny, you know, like lanky and stuff. And still they are Brazilian. Look at Giselle Bündchen. Giselle Bündchen is one of the biggest Uber models we ever had, top models in the world. And she's the biggest one, actually. She was the biggest one in history. She's from Brazil. She's from South. And she's super skinny, beautiful, it's like lanky. And she's from Brazil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think this little perception boxes that people put us because of our culture or where you are from it's funny, but
it is.
Sometimes it's a bit like, yeah.
It is like, I know that if I go to Colombia, I'm not seeing any of these Instagram people.
It's because Instagram people don't exist, darling. Exactly. It doesn't matter where they are from.
Exactly.
They are from a world called Instagram. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so when my colleagues send me these videos, I'm like, yeah, she's all right, but, I know they're not real in the sense of, I'm not going to go to Colombia and see her next week. It's very, like, vague where you see them.
I think that social media is here to try to...
Destroy our
I'm
minds.
gonna rephrase it. Social media was supposed to be something to connect us. I think it's separating us now.
Yeah.
I think it's separating us from reality, from each other. It's making things look a bit vile. The extreme, a bit unnecessary sexuality at the moment as well. The sexual exposure and stuff is a bit too much, in my opinion. Yes, I'm a bit conservative about stuff. That's me. Please respect it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's nice how things are being so on your face at the moment. So, like, I don't know. It's just too much for me, personally. And that's just my point of view. I don't think if you're doing what you're doing is your problem. Like, I have nothing against it. But I think that social media kind of made everything really, I don't know, like, I don't even know the word. It's like, it's just everything's really, in Portuguese, we'll say boçal. Boçal means that everything just lost a bit of their standards and value. It's a bit worth, it's losing worth. It's just a bit like, you see bum everywhere, tits everywhere, topless people everywhere, guys, girls, everybody naked all the time. Like, I think that sensuality is something really beautiful. The power of femininity is something really beautiful, but at the moment it's just going a bit nuts.
Yeah.
A little bit nuts.
But I think that's more the fault of television. When things like Love Island came out, things like, what is it? What's the show called? Love at First Sight. All of those programs.
What's that one that everybody gets naked? I think is ridiculous.
Naked Attraction.
Oh my God, what is that, guys? What's going on? I really don't like that. It was really weird when I watched it for the first time. It was 8 o'clock on a normal TV. I was like...
Channel 4, yeah.
I know. I was like very confused. I don't know. It wasn't being impacted. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was a show called Sex in the Box. Again, 8 o'clock, Channel 4.
Wow.
And it was literally people having sex in a box. Like, you could see so they were going like this room, but you could see the silhouette. You could see the shadows.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And then,
how odd.
And then they'd come out and talk about how they felt, what their experience was, what it was like for them. That
is so
at that
weird.
point is pornography.
Yeah, that's soft porn.
At 8 o'clock.
That's soft porn.
As
much as there is a lot of accounts in social media now that are soft porn and people are just seen as natural. So girl empowerment, women empowerment. I'm not gonna go into that because I'm gonna have a fight with a lot of people that are listening to this. So I'm just gonna shut up because I'm an entertainer, not a politician. I'm not a human's right person. I'm not a girl's right person. I'm just an artist. So I'm gonna shut up, but I'm a bit in the team of the what the fuck's going on. Do you know what I mean? I'm a bit in that team, to be fair.
Yeah. I think for me, when I made this podcast, I wanted it to normalize taboo topics. And just talk about things that people don't consider normal. So
Interesting.
Yeah, so la gente de pronto no habla de being gay, being...
And can I tell you something? Because I'm a bit more conservative with some values that I have personally, I have a couple of people that come and say, oh, but you're Brazilian. How can you be conservative? My country is full of Catholic people. There is a lot of conservative people. And mi gente es bastante conservadora con muchas cosas. I think that there is a little dystopia here about me as a person, as an individual, and my culture and what my culture is. A lot of people think they know what Brazilian culture is and then generalized in a negative connotation. Do you know what I mean? Because, there is the carnival and bunda. And unfortunately, a lot of prostitution. When it comes to Europe, there's a lot of Brazilian prostitution. But it's not only Brazil, is there? There's loads of other countries that come in as well, they work with prostitution and stuff like. But I think that unfortunately, Brazil was flagged, as easy girls because very sexual liberated and it's so wrong. It's so wrong. It's really, really wrong. And that still impacts me in a very negative way in the sort of, I had comments of people saying like, how can you be this conservative if you're from Brazil? And I'm so confused because
I think what you just said, people think they know your culture. It's for me, I think it's funny now, but o sea, de la gente que diga Pablo Escobar, cocaína, drogas, el cartel.
There's people
de
probably think that
Medellín.
every Colombian is a cartel person, or a
I get
drug
that a
dealer,
lot.
cocaína, drug dealer.
Oh, I get those jokes a lot. I get those jokes still.
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? This type of jokes are a bit weird.
Like for me now, I'm like, like I don't care anymore because that's not my culture. So it was a part of our history, 100%, and unfortunately, we did go through that. We went through the Pablo Escobars, the Cali.
And I think that, this is the thing with culture in history. Everybody has a background. Every culture has a background, but that doesn't make everybody else be exactly what the background of that country is.
Yeah.
It's culture. It will somehow have a little touch on you, and your personality and a bit of how you conduct things, but not as much as how your father and your mother actually raised you, and more of a family nuclear thing. Like, I'm more conservative because my family is extremely conservative with things. All crazy. All of my family members are absolutely fucking delulu bonkers. Like, we're very kind-hearted people and stuff, but I can see that there is a more conservative thing about certain things. And in the other side, my family specifically are super open-minded about all this stuff. So it's we need to respect each other. Like if you have a girl that does OnlyFans, okay, good for you. I'm not a great fan of that. I think that you should do anything else before you go to that avenue. Do you know what I mean? But I think that if you do that, it's your problem. I will respect you for doing that. I'm not going to slag you off and start saying that you this or that. Like, it's fine. But the same way I need to be respected because I do not agree with that. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes people lack respect with whatever your opinion is in general. If you like black and I like white, if I like a lamp and you don't like a lamp, like we're going to start being enemies. Because nowadays we are intolerant with differences. We pretend we are very tolerant. I can see that there is a lot of peaceful and tolerant stuff, but behind their phones, people are very evil to each other. And I think it's terrible, it's horrible.
And I'll add on to that. Me and my cousins, we're very different in the sense of we're different religions. He's Muslim. I want to say I'm a Christian. I don't actually know what religion I am. But and he'll go to me, oh, Juan, I can't drink because I'm a Muslim. I do Eid, I do fasting, I do Ramadan. And I completely respect that. But because he knows he won't push it onto me. So he won't go, oh, no, Juan, Muslim is the right religion to follow because so-and-so.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot of people have told me, oh, Juan, you should be a Muslim, Juan. Being a Christian or a Catholic is wrong. You've got to be a Muslim.
This is so wrong to do that.
Yeah, and they're trying to push it onto you.
Yeah.
But my cousin, with me, he'll be like, oh, I'm Muslim. I follow this, and this, and this is what it's about. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm this and this and this, but I may not go to church, but I still have a relationship with God. And he'll be like, oh, okay, cool. So we won't try and push things onto each other, but we have a mutual respect for each other's beliefs, religion. We still have a lot of love for each other.
Tolerance and respect is there. It's interesting. As we were saying, tolerance. I think that tolerance and respect bring so many positive things to every culture, everybody, in every environment, in every situation. And recently, there was this horrendous situation at the HMP Wandsworth, which is the prison, Wandsworth prison, that I need to bring it up. I need to bring it up. So basically, there is this police officer that had sex with an inmate.
Yes.
And someone recorded, and then she got all over.
Yes.
Ends up she's Brazilian.
Yeah.
Ends up she's from Brazil. She's a 31-year-old woman. She's from Brazil. And I heard comments in social situations of course she's Brazilian. I heard this comment in the past a couple of days, because this started happening like 5 days ago, a week ago, that went out. A few days ago, yeah. Yeah. So in this last week, I heard this comment in a couple of different situations, like literally saying, "Oh, of course she's Brazilian. Oh, of course she's Brazilian." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so till when people are going to keep saying things like this? Not only about Brazil, but about any other type of like derogative connotation to things. The problem is not that she's Brazilian. She is a perverted woman that has already been in the Channel 4. She's been in the Channel 4 before in a type of a documentary about people that likes to do swing and sex out of the marriage, and they are open. Okay. So she's already perverted. She's already in the avenue, okay? It's not because she's Brazilian. It's because she's an individual that goes that way. It's her choice. So why me as a Brazilian woman and all of my Brazilian women have to hear some idiot saying, of course, that because she is Brazilian, and just feel like I go in the same box of that woman? Like, this is so wrong, you know?
Because it's because people don't culture themselves. They don't try and learn about who they are now.
But then I'm a big fan of if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything, you know?
Oh, yeah.
In Brazil, we use this expression that's amazing. That is, in boca fechada não entra mosca. Que en la boca cerrada no se entra mosquito. ¿Sabes? It's bello.
Oh, yeah, but everyone's always going to want to say something, 100%. Yeah. And I've learned that. So, again, back to Colombia, people are always going to want to say, oh, Pablo Escobar, cocaine, Cartel de Medellín, drug lords, gangsters. Y es porque no han tenido tiempo de culturizarse ellos mismos. They've not had time to do the research. They've only going off by what they know and what they've been told. Now, if you know Brazil and you know Colombia, beautiful countries. Yes, there's crime. Yes, there is somewhat danger. 100%. There's danger everywhere. But there's also the beauties of each country. I could say the coffee, the food, what else? The coffee, the food, the emeralds, the bananas that we have here, that we saw here, they're Colombian. Los aguacates, la comida típica. That's all amazing. Like I'm introducing my colleagues to Colombian food that minute. Like I'm ordering food to my work, and I'm like, have this, taste it, tell me what you think. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
But do you see how you speak about your country? It's with pride.
Yeah,
because you're proud of your background, right?
Oh yeah.
Like this is really the point. Like I'm extremely proud of being Brazilian, and I even doing the songs in English and stuff. You know, like y hablo español porque mi familia son españoles también, pero yo tengo un orgullo extremo de ser brasileña. Y cuando yo hablo eso con la boca así llena de amor y todo el respeto por mi por mi gente y todo, es porque me encanta, está en mi corazón, está en mi sangre, está en mí. Y hay gente que intenta venir y sacar eso de mí con el prejuicio, con la falta de respeto, con esta ignorancia y esta tormenta en su cabeza que te hace pensar que tú puedes decir cosas que son malas para los otros y desrespetarlos y try to take their culture, try to take their pride away from them. You know, like, this is the point. Like, I think that's when people are evil, when they try to disrespect you with intolerance and take this pride away from you.
I think because we don't do anything about it,